He's, I think we'll start off the ice. He fits in great. He's really outgoing guy. I could see why when he played in the World Championships with Team Canada, TK, Tyson, Sanny, they took a liking to him right away. He has nothing but great things to say about those three and how they treated him during the time. So it's kind of like he's already fitting into the group just by having that connection with those guys. And then once you get him out on the ice there, he's a pretty confident kid. He reminds me a lot of Tyson when I was coaching him with the Phantoms. So he has that little bit of swag to him, like he knows that he's a good player. And I think that's a good thing. I think you want a player that has that and that confidence within himself.
With Porter, did you get a heads up from the amateur staff that, hey, this is what he does well, that's what he does well? Or are you somebody who likes to have a clean slate when it comes to getting them in this kind of situation?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes both ways. They fill me in pretty close, and I'm pretty close with Brent as well, so he gives me a lot of inside little scoops on him that he's seen over the time. But during our time of going out to watch Bonk play, Barkey play, Luchenko play, they always play against Martone and Nesbit and those types of guys that end up being drafted. So you always get a good look at him as well. Even though I'm not there watching him play, his type of game, he stands out pretty much whenever you do see him play. So, but I have a pretty good insight towards him, and that'll just continue to fill over the next couple of years of his development.
Are you a little surprised he fell to 6? Did you anticipate he would probably go earlier? And how happy were you when you saw him go?
Yeah, you think a guy like that, a big winger, when he's available at 6, I think if Danny wasn't in Atlantic City, I'm pretty sure he'd be running to the stage in LA. So, no, it's great. We're super excited to have him, and I think he's going to fit in great.
Where does Shane Van Saggy, where does he fit in? What do you know about him and his game, and where does he fit into the whole group here at the moment?
Yeah, I think with being a power forward, you look at his body away from the rink and how big he is already. Playing a year at Michigan too, kind of like a Hagens type player, where if he would have went back and played junior hockey, I think he would have just absolutely dominated. So it was good that he was able to play against some older guys, bigger guys, and kind of based off that, you see him out here. He's just a big body. I think we got to work on his hands, his skill, and stuff like that to kind of bring him to the next level. But for the most part, when you have a power forward who likes taking pucks to the net, and I think we were kind of scared of those areas in the past here with the Flyers. So I think adding a guy like that, where he's going to change a little bit of the dynamic in a couple of years once he's up here.
I guess that's all, related to that from your perspective. How welcome is it that all these guys that they took in 2025 are all 7 feet tall?
Yeah, I know. When I met them out in LA, I was looking up at them and I thought, wow, these guys are pretty big. And then John LeClaire walked up, and then he looked up at them, and then I really thought these guys are pretty big. So I think it was kind of the theme going on out there. It was I know the panel of Sportsnet TSN, I think I was getting clips sent, and they're like, well, they're getting another guy at 6'5". So it's definitely a change of the dynamic from, those small, speedy wingers and just adding more size. And, you look at these guys, they all skate fairly well, and they're only going to get better as they get stronger and continue to develop into their bodies. I think a prime example would be Sanheim when he first came in and what he's turned into, and then same with Tyson. I think they knocked his skating when he was drafted, and now I think, he's right up there in the league with his power and his explosiveness too, just off of the block.
Sort of along those lines with Porter, one of the things that people said needs work is his skating, and I know it's only a couple of drills and all that, but what did you see as far as his skating ability and projecting it forward?
Yeah, I think his first 3 steps when he comes out of the block is probably elite, I would say. Once he gets going in his high-end speed, I think he's only going to get faster, and that comes with strength and being able to stay down a little bit lower. Like, he's a big kid, and once he has to bend down and stay down in that position, that takes a lot of strength in the legs. I think that once that comes, and then we lengthen his stride a little bit, once he gets a little bit lower, he's going to be even faster than what he is right now. Just got to give them a couple of years if you can be patient with them.
I wanted to ask a guy about that you've known a little bit longer than these guys, Alex Bump, and what you see from his development from when you had him here last year to where he is now, as he gets ready to potentially compete for a job this season.
Yeah, you obviously see him. He's playing high school hockey a couple of years ago in Minnesota, and then he's going into Western Michigan. And as a freshman, he started on the fourth line, and he's only continued to grow since. Obviously, he was a standout last year. And then when he jumped up to the American League, he noticed the difference in the way that guys compete at the pro game in the corners. They're a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and he was getting knocked off pucks in the Hershey series. And that's something that we've talked about, we've addressed with him. And, I think a lot of that's just the gym work, getting a little bit stronger. You look at his frame and, he gets up to about 200, 205 pounds. I don't think too many guys are going to be knocking him off the puck. I do think he's going to have a great shot at making it out of camp here if he brings his game.
You mentioned Alex Bump, but out of the guys that are returnees at this camp, who have you seen the most, I guess, physical development specifically from year over year from where they were last year?
Yeah, you look at Hunter McDonald. We're just working on his hands, his gameplay, and stuff like that. We know he's the Punisher type player, but once his hands come and he gets his head up and he starts making plays, he skates great for another big guy. So I like that. And then Noah Powell, too. He's slowly coming into it. I think leaving Ohio State, where he was only playing a couple of games a weekend, and now then he went to Oshawa, where he was playing almost every night. You could see going to watch him at Ohio State, then in the OHL, his game just kind of took off a little bit there. So we'll see what it's like at ASU, kind of stepping back, but I think it was good for him to continue to play games. At Ohio State, college schedule, playing just on weekends, it kind of slowed him down a little bit there, so it was a good change for him.
Danny and Brent both said that they were satisfied with the overall, what they took. Can you sense out there that that group maybe energizes the whole group of 46?
Yeah, I think with changing the coaching staff here, it's all fresh eyes on these players, and I think the players that were here before playing with the Phantoms or that were drafted in the previous years come in and they know it's kind of a blank sheet for them too, so they get a fresh start. And then same with the Lehigh coaching staff as well, flipping over too. So I think everybody's kind of amped up about that and kind of playing on a blank slate is there too. So whenever new blood comes in, right, everybody that has been drafted in 2022 or 2023, they're kind of like, crap, these guys are chasing me now. So it kind of picks them up a little bit that someone's on their tail.
Jack Nesbit, you mentioned you'd see him popping up, going to see other guys. What stood out to you as far as, what you got to see a little bit of today?
His like grit, his grit for like a big guy. He's just definitely not a soft skill type big player. He likes those dirty areas. You see him in those corner battles, like he isn't not shying away from anyone out there. And once he understands how to use his body and come out of the corner with the puck, and once he gets stronger, I think he's going to be a nice addition here in a couple of years.
They had a couple of big dogs on that team who probably are going to jump up Greentree and Protus. Do you kind of project him to maybe get more ice time, bigger situations next season when he goes back to Windsor?
Yeah, you always hope so, right? And obviously that's up to their coaching staff and how he plays, but at the same time, we're there to kind of help him develop and bring him along and work with that coaching staff as well to make him take his next steps.
Talk a little bit about Porter and what he needs to do to work on his skating. What do you think Jack needs to do to improve his skating?
Yeah, I think overall the foundation's there with both of them. I think the strength component is so big. You look at these guys, I think Porter was one of the youngest guys in the draft, kind of like Jet was last year. And it takes them a while to kind of fill out. They're 6'5", and it's a little bit harder to put muscle on a 6'5" guy than a 5'10" guy with that frame. So I don't know, that's what the trainers tell me anyways. So I listen to them because that's not my expertise anyways, but they said it just takes a little bit longer for those taller guys to develop that power and that strength.
You have Wayne Simmons on the ice today. We talked about all these guys who are big, strong, projecting power forwards. He was that. What did it mean for you and for the development group to have him out there today?
Yeah, it's great. We were actually joking around. He has no teeth, like you guys know, and one of the best net front guys in the league when he played. And then you also have John LeClaire out there too, who was right up there before him. So we were telling the guys, you know, if you want to look like Wayne, you got to sit in front of the net and be there. So then he had a good smile too for us, and I think he scared some of the guys. Yeah.
For him, this is sort of his first time kind of doing this. Do you have to sort of motivate him to be, you know, open up, show some of what you did, kind of work with the kids a little bit, or did he take right to it?
Yeah, he loves it. I think coming to the rink, like he's played here for how many years, I think it feels home to him when he walk in here. And that's something that we've kind of created with all the guys is when you feel comfortable in this spot, you can perform better. If you come in, you're nervous, you're uptight, you're not going to be able to put everything out there. So kind of give it an open feel and joke around with the guys a lot. And, you know, Wayne comes in, he's got a good sense of humor, good personality. So he fits in pretty good with our group.
Is the door open for him to maybe do more of this? Would you like to have him do more of this?
Yeah. Obviously, more help the better. And a guy like that who can provide some more insight to our guys. And he lives up in Ontario, so with all the guys we have out there anyways, he can pop out and check out some rinks too. I'm pretty sure he always loves being around the rink. He's a hockey player. Was a hockey player.
Darla wasn't really someone that you dealt with a lot last year, but it looked like he had his legs today. What did you see from him?
Yeah, you know, I think he has a lot of confidence. Playing a couple games at the end of the year there, and then coming in, he kind of feels that, you know, I've played here and these guys haven't. But if you look at his path, never being drafted, growing up, even in junior hockey to the NHL, and kind of taking the back way, you know, he kind of is just letting his play kind of do the talking for him. And he definitely grinds out there. He makes some really good plays. You know, I think this year at camp right now, when you see the guys we have, you know, it's going to be a hard decision for Danny and those guys once it comes to making this team, that there's going to be some good competition at camp.